So I think for me, the kind of the biggest impact I had is being able, first of all, fundamentals of actually stopping and creating the space to do the practice was a big deal for me. So that was the first step. As you say about the consistency, right, and creating this commitment to do it and consistently doing it. And I think there's a number of things. So with the work that we did together over the 2 programs, that helped me to shed a lot of the grief that I was carrying around the loss of both of my parents in the recent years, and also some of the guilt that I was carrying around that, and also around some other areas of my life. As a consequence of that, I remember one of the first things that I experienced from that was clarity of mind, being able to think more clearly. And at the time, it was particularly around my business and being able to really take a step back and look at things differently, rather than it all being just this big ball of cotton wool mess in my head, and I couldn't see through it all. So that for me was one of the biggest kind of impacts. And also just through doing the practices ongoing, and particularly the chanting, I will say the one thing I do consistently is the chanting every day. And I actually, so because it's the instructions I got is like 3 times, I think it's 18 times 3, and I'd be sitting there trying to count them in my hand. So I actually, when I was on holiday earlier this year, I bought these beads. It's like a necklace with the little round beads, and I counted them, and there was I think is it 58? Yeah, I think it's 58, or there's one extra or something on there. So I counted. I was like, okay, I'm going to get that, because then I can just use that and hold that, and as I'm counting, sort of go like this and trying to remember what I'm doing. But that for me every morning, again, pushes me to actually create that space for a few minutes to do that practice. But also I feel really grounded after doing it for the rest of the day, and it kind of feels like it's part of setting me up for the day as well. And while I'm doing it, because I sit on my bed and do it, and I look out the window, and I'm on like the 3rd floor, so I've got a really nice views, the trees and stuff. So I look, and I tend to just like zone out a little bit, and sometimes I do a little bit of visualization as I'm doing the chanting as well. So that's a really great practice for me, and it helps me to slow down at the start of my day, rather than, you know, we all sort of fall out of bed and start rushing around to do things. For me, that kind of stops me and gets me grounded, I guess is the best word, and creating that space for me. And then with the meditation practices, one of the reasons I'd come to Vishal to work with him initially was to create more connection with myself, to connect more with me, because I had a habit of always being in my head, and not really tuning into myself, to my feelings, to my emotions. I literally would say out loud, I'll just put that in a box and move on. Whereas now I've slowed down to that. I've tuned in more to, I guess, self-awareness, to the feelings, the emotions that I have going on in situations, but in particular connecting with myself to be able to connect better with my partner. And that was one of the big things for me as well. And through doing the chanting, through doing some of the meditations, that has really helped me to do that, and to really, what's the right word, I guess, relax into the relationship more, rather than being in my head. And it's, for me, it's a continuous process. It's not like, right, okay, that's done now, so we just leave it and move on. It's continuing to do that, because it will continue to help me to evolve. So I guess in summary, it's helped me in different parts of my life, both with just self-connection and self-awareness, as well as the clarity of thought around my business and where I was heading with that. This was early last year. And also, as I said, with my relationship with myself and with my partner. So a lot of things it has helped with, and also just moving me forward, because I'd felt a little bit stuck ever since I lost my parents. And I could see that my behaviors had shifted from how they used to be. And it almost come a little bit stagnant and a little bit like, what's the word, apathy around things, which has never been the way that I show up. And I wanted to get out of that rut almost. So this has really helped to clear that and create that space for me.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Leila, for sharing that. I mean, that's really, really great. I've seen your business, from where it was and to where it is now. By the way, Leila does amazing branding work for businesses. She's a coach too. And wow, how much it has grown and expanded. Because, a lot of people come to me and say, I want financial freedom, and that's what I want really to focus on these sessions. And I'm like, look, it's going to be difficult to go into and just focus on getting you money essentially, right? It's about clearing what is in there that is blocking you from that financial freedom. So when we go through the process of clearing those blocks, clearing everything that's in there that's been there for years, those traumas and emotions, then you move into a place of abundance, and that's what Leila has done. Because it's not only abundance in her business, but it's also abundance in her relationship, right? And an abundance in her health. So it works always. Once you work on the blocks from the inside, you automatically move towards abundance. So
Can I
this is
just
what.
say something? Sorry to interrupt,
Sure.
Richard. It's like, I think the word that comes to mind for me is expansion. It's like you say, you've got these things, these blocks inside that you don't know you've got.
Yeah.
And then it has you kind of like this. And when you remove the blocks, it creates this expansion, and then that impacts every area of your life.
Every area, exactly. Well said. Thank you so much, Leila. Yes, absolutely. And the amount of clarity you get, and like you were saying, because before it was very much left brain, very much analytical, logical, always thinking about things, how is this supposed to be done, and what should I do logically and everything. But then once you do this process, once you get rid of all those blocks and everything, you're at so much peace, and there's this calmness. And when there's this peace and calmness around you, then it's so easy to get that clarity, because your thinking mind is quiet, and you're now allowing that space for your creative mind to really work and really expand, like you said, and get those ideas that will take you forward towards your goals and your purpose. So yeah, absolutely.
And actually, to your point, I think you might have seen the announcement I made, but for me now, I'm stepping away from just that playing small with the personal branding and the career. It's like I'm expanding now to offer a bigger kind of solution for people, because that's the result I was getting, right? But
yeah,
I was still talking or focusing on one small piece.
Yes.
And for me, it's that feeling ready to step into that.
Yeah.
To be able to expand that, and to be able, I'm calling it life leadership, because that's what it is. It's about acting all areas, and for me now it's exciting, but that's just come from staying still and just listening.
Excellent.
Not from left brain work,
Yep.
which is what it normally comes from.
This is it. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Leila, for sharing that.